What's up, everyone? Welcome back to PackToSleeve. My name is Justin, and today we've got another box of Core Set 2021 for you today. Let's go ahead and dive right in. If I can get it, there we go. And like I do with with boxes, I focus on the rares, the mythics, the foils, and the showcase cards. And in Core Set 2021, there's a lot of showcase cards. So we'll see how we do. Let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, this looks like the Japanese print run, so they got the nice little tabs. Also means the rares are in the front. So let's start out. We got, starting off with a bang, Azusa Lost But Seeking. Great reprint. So for 2 and a green for a 1/2 human monk, you may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. Great in Amulet, Titan, and Modern. This set has been full of reprints. I think they did a really good job adding some valuable reprints that needed to happen, like Azusa, like Ugin. And we start out already with a foil rare. Alright, Speaker of the Heavens for 1 white for a 1/1 human cleric with Vigilance and Lifelink. You can tap him to create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying, but you can only activate this ability if you have at least 7 more life than your starting life total, and only at a time when you can cast a sorcery. And Double Vision is the non-foil rare for the pack. For 3 and 2 red for an enchantment, whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery of each turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Alright. Oop, there's a showcase. Bazari's Acolyte. There's your beast token for the Garruk. And Peer into the Abyss with a really creepy artwork. So for 4 and 3 black, for a sorcery, target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life. Round up each time. Any other good ones in there? Nope. There's a Sapperling token for you. And Foil Rugged Highlands, best color pair, Gruul. And we got Heroic Intervention, another fantastic reprint for 1 and a green for an instant. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Yeah, Heroic Intervention, great in sideboards for aggressive green decks, and also really good in Commander. Oh, wait for it to come in there. All right, Liliana's Standard Bearer for 2 and a black for a 3/1 creature zombie knight with flash. When it enters the battlefield, draw X, where X is the total number of creatures that died under your control this turn. And I think we got a full art here. And it is the Solemn Simulacrum. For 4 mana for a 2/2 golem, when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card and put that onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. And when Solemn Simulacrum dies, you may draw a card. Really like those alt art cards. They did a really good job with those. Hopefully we can find a foil in here. And we got the enchantment 9 lives for 2 and 2 white, or for 1 and 2 white for an enchantment with hexproof. When a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation token or counter on 9 lives. When 9 or more incarnation counters are on 9 lives, exile it. When it leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. There's the new shrine, the new green shrine there. Moving right along. Whoops. We got the Showcase Forest, non-foil, and Animal Sanctuary. Let's go ahead and put that there. There's a land card. You can tap it for colorless, or you can spend 2 and tap it to put a 1/1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Probably good for tribal decks in Commander more so, or Kitchen Table more so than in competitive play. But still a pretty sweet looking card. And cats and dogs in particular are very relevant creature types. Alright, we got a Bazari Ket emblem. Put that over here. And foil is Daybreak Charger. Pretty sweet looking foil. And we got Primal Might for X and green for a sorcery. Target creature gains +X/+X until the end of turn. Then it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. People have been trying that in the mono green aggro list, and I've been trying it in my Gruul aggro lists. Works out pretty well. It's a nice pump spell and a way to clear out a troublesome blocker. And we got Sublime Epiphany. For 4 and 2 blue, for an instant, choose one or more of the modes. Counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that is a copy of target creature you control, and target player draws a card. There's the Black Sanctum. Oop, there we go. Another one of Garruk's Gorehound. I've got a ton of those so far. Or Gorehorn, sorry, not Hound. And our rare is the Chandra's Incinerator Showcase version. For 5 and a red for a 6/6 elemental. This spell costs X less, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. Card is trample, and whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that player controls. A lot of people are trying this in Burn to see if it'll work, if it's consistent and fast enough. And I think that's the main question: is can you get it down often enough, and what do you replace? Is another good question in Burn. All right. Karvek, the Spiteful, for 2 and 2 black for a 3/2 human warlock. Other creatures get -1/-1. Really good if the format turns into creature-heavy aggro matchups. Card is definitely worth keeping in mind. Don't think you'll see any play right now, as Ramp is the big one. And we got a foil short sword. And our first mythic is Mangara, the Diplomat. For 3 and a white for a 2/4 human cleric with lifelink. When an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you or a planeswalker you control, draw a card. And whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. Alright. Interesting card. Once again, I think the format would have to become much more aggressive. Card is a great brick wall against mono red, so could see some sideboard play. And, ooh, there we go. That's a good foil uncommon. Silver Smoke Ghoul. Card's been seeing some play in Pioneer Dredge or Dredgeless Dredge. And we got See the Truth is the rare. For 1 and a blue for a sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of these cards in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. If this spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand, put all those cards in your hand instead. Selfless Savior, good in aggressive decks as well, just to be able to keep whatever your main threat is alive. All right. Spark Hunter Masticore for 3 mana for a 3/4 Masticore. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. It has protection from planeswalkers, and you can spend 1 to deal 1 damage to target planeswalker, or you can spend 3 and it gains indestructible until the end of turn. Grasp of Darkness, a fun reprint. Last saw reprint and saw a lot of play when Oath of the Gatewatch was legal in Standard. Alchemist's Gift, it's a pretty cool foil. And Thieves Guild Enforcers are rare. For 1 black for a 1/1 human rogue with flash. Whenever Thieves Guild Enforcer or another rogue enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 2 cards. As long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer has +2/+1 and has Death Touch. So for a Rogues Matter list in Standard, would be interesting. You have Robber of the Rich, and that would also trigger, or you'd be able to cast stuff off of Robber with that as well. There we go. We got a Showcase Island and Transmogrify. For 3 and a red for a sorcery, exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. That player puts that card onto the battlefield and then shuffles the rest of their library. Alright, only 1 mythic so far. Hopefully we start heating up on those mythics. And Sanctum of All, the Sanctum Payoff, or the Shrine Payoff. For Wooburg, for a legendary enchantment shrine, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may search your library and or graveyard for a shrine card, then put it onto the battlefield. And if you do search your library this way, shuffle it. If an ability of another shrine you control triggers, if you control 6 or more shrines, this ability triggers in additional time. Soul Seer. Haven't seen that hit standard too much yet, but it's definitely a really good removal card, and removing indestructible is very relevant. And we got a non-foil Speaker of the Heavens. All right. Hey, Eliminate. There you go. That's a great find. I know that is one of the F&M promos in the promo packs. Let's see how much those get opened over the course. Oh, there we go. Foil Showcase Island. That looks pretty good. And another Chandra's Incinerator. Man, these boxes have so many of those. All right. Tormod's Crypt, another good reprint. Is that new to Pioneer, or has that been in Pioneer already? Someone leave a note in the comment and let me know. Sporeweb Weaver. For 2 and a green for a 1/4 spider with reach and hexproof from blue. Whenever it is dealt damage, you gain 1 life and create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token. I think that could also see some good sideboard play versus aggressive green decks, or aggressive red decks, sorry. Cultivate, another good reprint. It's already seeing play in the ramp lists. Moving right along. Oh, there we go, a Showcase Mountain. A foil Spine Megalodon, and Demonic Embraces are rare for 1 and 2 black for an aura. Enchantment aura. Enchant creature. The creature gets +3/+1, has flying, and is a demon in addition to its other types. And you may cast Demonic Embrace from your graveyard by paying 3 life and discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. Definitely an aggressive card. Be able to give cards like Knight of the Ebon Legion, flying, and even more of a pump. Alright, our second mythic is Fiery Emancipation. For 3 and 3 red for an enchantment, if a source you control would deal damage that to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. Definitely much more of a commander card. Play that in something like Torbrand and things just get bonkers. If there are Torbrand red decks, I feel like there would be. Alright, our first temple is Temple of Epiphany. Enters the battlefield tapped. When it does, you scry 1, and you can tap it to add blue or red to your mana pool. Kitesail Freebooter, another good one. He's playing Humans in Modern. Probably would see play in Humans in Pioneer as that list starts to come up. Alright, foil Riddle Form. That looks great. Reprint from Amonkhet. And we got Ghostly Pilferer. For 1 and a blue for a 2/1 Spirit Rogue. Whenever it becomes untapped, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. And you can discard a card and it can't be blocked this turn. Another one of those cards for a rogue deck. Garruk's Uprising Showcase. Llanowar Visionary. Interesting combination there. And we got the Scavenging Ooze. For 1 and a green for a 2/2 ooze, you can pay 1 green to exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on ooze, and you gain 1 life. Fantastic reprint. I think it'll go a long way to helping control the Uro decks. Also, just being able to gain life against the mono red lists has been helpful for me so far. All right. Well, the card looks sweet in foil. I'm not sure it's all that great of a card, though. The Sanctum of All foil. All right. And our rare is Baron, Talarian Archmage. For 1 and 2 blue for a 2/2 human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other card or target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, draw a card. You can use that to reset some of the planeswalkers or all sorts of things. Get another ETB effect. Liliana Waker of the Dead emblem. I'd love to get a Liliana in this one. Gadrick the Crown Scourge for 2 and a red for a 5/4 legendary creature dragon with flying. It can attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. I think it's just a flying brick wall until you get those artifacts. But treasure tokens and food tokens can turn Gadrick on pretty quick for 3 mana. if you wanted to build like a Jund or even a Gruul list. All right, we got Temple of Triumph. Enters the battlefield tapped, you scry 1, and you can tap it to add red or white. Another Opt reprint. I think that's a good evergreen to have in standard for spells, matter lists, and control lists. And Ruined Halo, another reprint for 2 white for enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a card name. You have protection from the chosen card name. People have been doing some janky things with that, and Enter the God Eternals. No, not Enter the God Eternals. The Dread Horde. I forget what the card is now. Anyway, it's the Dread Horde card where you bring stuff back out of your graveyard and pay life up to its mana cost. Alright, so we got a foil Chrome Replicator and a Garruk. Alright, 3rd Mythic. For 2 and 2 green for a 4 mana or 4 loyalty Garruk. +1 is target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until the end of turn. -2, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. If the opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on Garruk. And -7, you get an emblem that at the beginning of your end step, you may search your library for a creature card and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Another Eliminate. Basri's Solidarity there. And a Magmut. Alright. Man, this box has been a little light on mythics so far, so hopefully we can get another one here. And we got the Cat Lord, Feline Sovereign, for 2 and a green for a 2/3 cat. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. Whenever one or more cats you control deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. The card is very interesting. I think a lot of people forget that secondary text, but that's very relevant, especially in today's standards. So if you're building cat tribal, keep that in mind. And we got a Veto, Thorn of the Duskrose, for 2 and a black for a 1/3 legendary vampire cleric. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And for 3 and 2 black, creatures you control gain lifelink until the end of turn. Card is pretty fantastic in like an Orzhov life gain deck. You just drain them out. Pretty cool Griffin token there, and a Showcase Swamp with Goblin Wizardry foil. And the Conspicuous Snoop, fantastic card in Modern already and in Pioneer. For 2 red, and you get a 2/2 Goblin Rogue. Play with the top of your library revealed. You may cast Goblin spells from the top of your library, and as long as the top card of your library is a Goblin, Conspicuous Snoop has all activated abilities of that card. Pairs really well with Kiki Jiki. Alright, we got 2 more to go in this box. Been a weird box again. And we got Temple of Mystery. Enters the battlefield tap, scry 1, and tap to add a green and a blue. This card would have been nuts if Lurrus hadn't been nerfed. Liliana Steward regular foil, and Stormwing's Entity. For 3 and 2 blue for a 3/3 elemental, spell costs 2 and a blue less to cast. If you cast an instant or sorcery this turn, it has flying, prowess, and when it enters the battlefield, scry 2. That card has a lot of potential in a lot of formats because it's really easy with all the cheap cantrips to cast that. Alright, last pack of the box. And it is our 4th mythic. It is the Massacre Worm. Another reprint. For 3 and 3 black for a 6/5 worm, when it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent control get -2/2 until the end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Way to drain them out really quick. Seasoned Hollowblade, another really interesting guy. Similar to Danto Vanguard, but discarding instead of paying life. So you got to take that into account whenever you're playing that. So, a decent box. Not the best mythics, but we'll take it. Bunch of solid rares. Couple good foils. But it looks like I am all tapped out for now. So I will talk to you guys later.